Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble,
Assemble.
Volume 281. And this very much might be the final Marvel Alliance of 2025. And you know what? We're not going to disappoint you. We are bringing to you the first Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer that, you know what? We have it. We've seen it. We've seen it a number of times. And you know what? We're going to do this show, and we're going to have a good time doing it because this is the march towards Avengers Doomsday. So basically, this time next year, you know, we're finally in the midst of it. Because what's the release date of it, David? What do we have for the official release date?
Let's see. Let me play.
We are
I
so prepared
actually
starting this.
had it up a moment ago.
Yep, December 18th. So, yeah, we are
There we go.
officially 1 year away. As of recording tonight, we are 1 year away.
Yeah, so
That is amazing.
I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited to get at least something, even if it is a dash and a sprinkle.
Yeah, so anyways, how has been your week?
My week has been good. I'm on the final road towards Christmas break and Christmas vacation, so I'm really looking forward to that. Just have most people are counting down to Christmas. I'm counting down one more wake up until I'm officially off of work for 2 weeks.
Yep, and same with me. We have a half day tomorrow, and then we have some travel plans and some stay home plans and things like that. So I'm looking forward to 2 full weeks off and getting to decompress. Had some good news this week at work, so we're rocking and rolling. But yeah, so it's we were hoping for something, and we luckily received it with our with this lovely trailer. So, but yeah, let us get into the before we get into breaking down the trailer and everything like that. We want to do our lovely network plug. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with 6 shows covering a wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network on Twitter at GWayPod Network, so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. Our dollar tier is our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows. Marvel Alliance has got 3 shows on the back catalog for our patrons. We can watch this all day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch. We've got the Tales from the House of X, where we watched all our favorite films from the Fox era of X-Men, and then we've got the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film retro film reviews. We also have the DC Alliance guys doing their DC films through the years. We've got Joe with his Multiverse Minutes, Disney Dives, with looking at on the 1st and the 15th of every single month, looking at the animated films from the Disney back catalog in chronological order. And he just released his most recent episode, and definitely, as always, enjoy it. I especially enjoy all the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's nice reliving what we saw way back when, but this was, what was it? Lion King. I believe it was Lion King. I think it was the last one of the kind of the illustrious Renaissance trilogy before they start. I think we head into Pocahontas next. Not necessarily. That starts kind of the slow downturn of what was going on there. So, but excited at that point. I know his next one he's really excited for. I think it's finally a Goofy movie's coming up. So I know he's a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, check that out. We want to thank our patrons. We cannot do this without your support. But if you're not a member of our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA Network so you get all that lovely content. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, totally understand, but if you can take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review Marvel Alliance on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. And last, but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at PBC have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. Want to highlight their 50% off Christmas sale. I'm just gonna put up everything here, not just highlight Marvel, but they've got a lot of collect editions for 50% off cover price. So if you wanna, if you've got a loved one, it may not make it probably for the big day of the 25th, but for the holiday season, if you want to gift them one of these lovely collected editions at this point, either you can treat yourself or for your own self, treat your shelf for a new book at that point. You like that? Yeah, I wish I could
I,
say
I
those
I
lines.
like that.
Yeah, treat yourself or treat your shelf. But lovely, got some great stuff from all the distinguished competition, Image, all this stuff. 50% off. You cannot beat that deal. Cannot beat PBC for it. We've got two codes you can use: Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or you can use MGUA Sit for 5% off for if you order 4 or more books together. And as always, lets them know you are a listener, and we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right. So, as we said at the opening, David and I have seen the very first Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer. This is not a trailer, this is the definition of a teaser. This is one of 4 teaser trailers that, or one of 3 teaser trailers, and the idea is there will be a full trailer, and we'll probably put full in quotes until we see it. But we'll just say 4 of these are teaser trailers. This is the first one. All of them are right now, and they've stuck to their guns despite what's happened this week. Marvel stuck to their guns, and they did these. Each of these are going. I mean, next week will be the Telltale Sign. Will they're the new trailer release? But the first one releasing with Avatar: Fire and Ash. The next week will be another one. The following week will be a third one, and then supposedly a bigger, more encompassing trailer for Avengers Doomsday. Now, what David and I will say is this: like, we have seen the trailer. Neither one of us have gone to Avatar: Fire and Ash. How did we see it then? Yes, we have seen the leak trailer. We have seen a very poor quality of the trailer. We have also seen a better version of the trailer. Right now, we are not going to be showing it because we are not going to get the our channel get a copyright strike because Marvel has been going after shows, but we are going to be talking about it and going to be discussing it at that point. So we're going to be going full on our thoughts about this at that point. This is our entirety of the show. It will not be a long show tonight. We will not be doing any listener feedback. We won't be doing Comic Book Club. We already said that's on hiatus and Fact or Fictions. We're just going to be doing this tonight, and it'll be our sole topic. So if you do not want to know anything about the very first teaser trailer, if you just want to see it undone, we're going to let you know. From David and I are going to stick to our guns right now. We're going to be probably taking the next 2 weeks off for the holidays, unless one of these trailers does reveal something huge. This seemed warranted just because of the first. Full transparency, David and I have also just seen the Thor trailer as well. Based on the descriptions, based on everything like that, it is not something that we feel we need to go live about next week. So we'll hold that back and see if we can see, because the one we are looking forward to, the rumor is that this was the first one. Next one will be focused on Thor. Next one will be focused on, after that, Doctor Doom, and then a proper Avengers Doomsday kind of full trailer. So, but yeah, so we will be taking the next 2 weeks off after tonight. No extra things in the feed, but we will be back next week, that following week. Probably we may have to kind of do a combo episode because we'll probably have to break down some trailers and then do our 2026 predictions when we come back that first full week of January. So that's kind of our setup at that point. So again, final warning, we are going to break this down. If you don't want to know anything, we will see you next year. It's kind of weird to say that, but I always enjoy saying it. So if you want to know anything, here's your warning. Full spoilers start now. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So this is, this is a trailer. We'll just go out and say it. This is focused on Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. You and I are in the circles. We knew the rumor was that the order was going to be Steve Rogers, Thor, Doctor Doom, and then a full trailer. So finding it now, we have talked about on this show. I can't even remember how many years ago that we broke down the story that Deadline. I think Deadline is the one who put it out there that Chris Evans was going to be returning in some capacity as Steve Rogers and or Captain America. I almost want to say that was 2 or 3 years ago that came out, and then nothing came of it. Um, so this is the first evidence that it is. Um, so that is what this trailer is focused on. So before we even break it down, what do we think about this strategy of just putting it in Avatar, Fire and Ash, making it exclusive, despite the leaks, despite all the leaks, including another leak that happened earlier in the week with a very bad leak, very bad transfer of the new Spider-Man Brand New Day at that point. So they are definitely scrambling. They're definitely trying to tighten their ship. But overall, David, what do you think about this strategy of just making exclusive to Avatar? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think Avatar needs the help of an Avengers trailer to do it.
I I I do not like this strategy strictly because it is solely tied to Avatar. If this was a situation where they put this out with multiple movies and you got one different one every week and they were just trying to help revitalize the movie industry right now, I would be a little bit more lenient to how I feel about this. But the fact that this is solely a way to drive people to continue to see Avatar and run revenue up and ticket sales up for that, I absolutely dislike it. And movie tickets aren't cheap. Yes, I have
Mm-hmm.
A list. Other people have other ways that they are able to watch multiple movies um, a month and things like that. But if you don't, and you're trying to go see this, that's anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks just to be able to see this and to see Avatar again. I watched the first Avatar. I did not watch the second. I don't plan on watching the third. And for them to use this as a way to reel me into something that's already going to make money, I'd rather you attach this to that Timothy Chalamet movie or something else or a new movie every week to just drive people to the theater. If your big thing is to have them see these teasers in theater, don't just attach it to one movie that you have to see four times over four separate weeks.
Yeah, and for us in the know, and for us that like kind of lives and breathes this kind of stuff, the content creators, you know, they've always said, "Oh, we're just going to put in theaters," and about 9 times out of 10, they end up putting it out the week of at that point, or the day it goes out, and we know we're getting it. But this is the first time they've really stuck to their guns, besides the leaks. And I selfishly, I don't like it because it kind of puts us in a bind of having to go to leaks. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, David and I necessarily didn't really want to do it, go at it for the leak, but neither one of us are going to be paying to see Avatar 4 times. Um, and for you all, the listeners who want to see us and have us break this down, we're doing this because we enjoy doing this. We want to put it out there for those of you that also like us, that we're not going to see Avatar 4 times. I'm going to see it. I don't know when I'm going to see it over my break, but I'm also not rushing out for purposes to see it for this trailer, let alone 4 times. It's an extra thing added into for the general audience to get kind of excited about this, to remind them that aren't in the stratosphere of always watching all the content. Those that know have always known this. This is the build up hype for Avengers Doomsday. What I will say is I don't like it as a content creator, but I will say this, and I'll play devil's advocate. I'm not saying I agree with it, but now they have 4 weeks of dialogue about Avengers Doomsday. That's where I'll say, like, I don't it's I don't like it, but that's where they're thinking, but I still don't think that it was the best move.
Yeah. Again, I understand their reasoning. I don't like that they've only attached it to one movie and you're driving up viewership for something that honestly does not and will not need it.
Yeah. So, we're it is what it is, and that's why we decided we're still going to break it down, because especially with some of the trusted people who are in the know and have seen Avatar, have basically in so many words confirmed that what was leaked is the trailer at that point that David and I had seen. So we feel comfortable breaking this down and doing this. So kind of looking at further of it. So as we are not going to be pulling it up on screen, because again they have struck a number of of copyright strikes and things like that, but we will pull it up on our end to break it down for you in case you have not personally seen it. So um, it does start off with we get a man that we know is Steve Rogers riding on a motorcycle. Now, as we know, Steve Rogers has been very much always about riding on his motorcycles.
So, Steve in the comics is on his motorcycle a lot. We've have various images throughout the MCU of Steve on a motorcycle, including that scene from Age of Ultron. We have him on a motorcycle in Captain America: First Avenger. So it's not new to us to see him with the motorcycle.
And one of the other things too is, some people have pointed out like the year of the bike and things like that. It could be different now with always with trailers, especially with this one too, that they could be also playing with time, and how scenes are shot and put together too to kind of make things like look like they're happening all in the same area. I think they're also playing with this. Also, the overture that is playing is the Avengers theme. You hear it with just a simple piano that they've done before. So Steve gets off the bike, and very kind of classic helmet, living on a suburban street. We don't know the exact time or year he's living in at this point because we know he's come back. This is the house he showed up with Peggy at the end of Endgame. Walking up the steps, and we get to see a look at his what was basically his Endgame costume, and taking it out of the drawer. Now, something kind of going into this at this point is, you know, as we said, we don't know. We know some time has passed, as a big reveal will happen in a little bit. But do you think, David, that Steve came to this when he met with Peggy and just put down the shield, put down his uniform, and officially retired, or do you think he stayed on his cap for a while to maybe fix some wrongs and eventually retired, or went into kind of semi-retirement? What do you think?
I think he went into a semi-retirement, more of a "Hey, I'm back. I'm here for you," but also as needed when big things happen. He may have done some sneaking around, capping, just out here doing kind of like what we just read about in Spider-Man, where he would make business trips, but during those business trips, when big things happen, he couldn't help but be that hero.
Yeah, it seems like it's always hard because again, he was always the one to say like you can't just sit there and let evil triumph. He even making the hard choices. That's who Steve Rogers is, even
Yeah.
without the shield. Um, so you see him take it out, kind of take a look at it, and it's an amazing uniform. I love the Endgame one, but look at this. Like he takes it out of a drawer, but then we kind of get a new cut to him putting it in a chest. So something has happened, you know, where he's putting it away. And when you're putting it in kind of a chest like this, it doesn't seem to me you're looking to take it out again. You're looking to put it aside, move on with your life.
Yeah. Um, to me, when I think about a lot of comic book movies that we've seen in the past, the chest is where they keep the costume when they're ready for action. I think of Daredevil having it in
Yeah,
the closet, hitting
you're right.
around. I think about Spider Man in his apartment, ready to kick open that uh, chest and grab that costume out. So I wonder if this is more of this is my quick action chest versus I'm locking this away for good.
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting way to put it, but you're right. It just kind of seemed like the reason I went to kind of putting it away is like he takes it out of the drawer at that point, but then again, we don't know the sequence of this, but like he's closing it, ending his chapter. That's kind of where I was kind of thinking the symbolism of instead of taking it
Closing the
out.
proverbial door or
Yep,
chest on his time as Captain America.
yeah. So as we go forward, we go. It's not just Steve. We now get Steve Rogers is officially a dad, and David, I know you want to say it because we're all thinking it at that point. What did She Hulk say?
Captain America.
Yep. So yes, Steve is a dad. So we don't see Peggy in this, but it is the house and everything like that. So Steve Rogers is a daddy.
Yeah, you got to assume at this point that that was part of the plan when he went back. That's part of what he wouldn't talk about with Sam when Sam asked him, "Do you want to talk about it?" He said, "No, I don't think I will." You know, this is part of it. He decided to go back and create an entire life that he never got to lead because he was out here being Cap.
Yep. And I think that was it wasn't just the reveal of Steve, officially being back at that point, but that he is a father. And I'm guessing that's a son. It's kind of I'm just going off of just what I can tell. Um, and he's looking very happily as a father. And then we looking totally on it. Then we get Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday, and that is our trailer, or excuse me, that is our teaser for it. So they chose to start off with maybe the biggest one, and so do you feel out of the four things that we know that we have been rumored to come, it was going to be Steve, Thor, Doctor Doom, full Avengers Doomsday trailer. Do you think it was a right choice for them to start off with Steve Rogers?
For if they're building up to the big trailer, I say yes because he is the biggest name other than Doctor Doom, and he is the when you start telling people, "Hey, Captain America's back," especially a certain section of people that Steve Rogers Captain America is back, that
Yep.
will bring them in. So this is going to bring you in more than, "Hey, we've got another Thor." We know Thor's coming back. We've seen Thor. We know what's going on with him. Doctor Doom, you save that one for last because it's Doom. But this is grab the people with the big name, with the your captain is back. Here you go.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily the wrong choice to do, especially when you think about it in the sense of who the Avengers Trinity is, being that Captain America, the first Avenger, followed up by Thor, then we've got Tony Stark. Now this isn't our Tony Stark, but Doctor Doom, as the Russos have said, this is a Tony Stark variant. This is not our Doctor Doom. They have been very clear on that many times, that this is a Tony Stark variant that is calling himself Doctor Doom. Um, but again,
Yeah, so please don't get up in arms. This isn't the Victor you know from the comics.
yeah,
We have already established this is not the Victor Von Doom that you know from the comics. This is a whole different avenue, so please calm it down a bit.
I very but again, this is purposeful. This is our original Avengers Trinity here. There, so that makes sense now. Um, but I want you to pay attention. It said Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. It did not say Captain America will return. Couple of things that I think about with that. Well, Captain America is not Steve Rogers anymore. Captain America is Sam Wilson. So there's one thing. There's honor amongst the shield being passed on. Two, there have been a lot of rumors going around, even before this trailer leaked, even before this, that when Chris Evans was rumored to be returning and signed back on, that he would be portraying maybe different multiverse characters of Steve. I think we've talked about it, and I think we've done factor fictions on this about saying we'll be seeing more than one Captain America. We've heard lots of rumors for years, even with Doctor Strange the Multiverse Madness, like Hydra Steve from Secret Empire. I think there's a very good possibility of that. I think there's even stronger possibility that Steve will take on the persona of Nomad.
Yeah, and that's what I feel is after seeing this and thinking about the fact that Steve might have been doing some side hustling hero work and not full on Captain America because again he gave up the shield and everything. So I could see a situation where yes, this is the Nomad version of Steve Rogers, and he would be respectful knowing that he gave this shield up, he gave that up, and this is where he's going from here on. So I could definitely see the version that we see in this trailer, not necessarily the main Steve Rogers that we're going to see in the movie, but the version from this trailer is the Nomad version.
Well, I'll throw another wrench into this mix as well that we people make an assumption that when Steve brought back the stones and were supposedly put them back into place, that timelines were redone. Timeline, he respected the timeline, and that he when he met up back with Peggy, that was still, or this was still reality 616, and that he just somehow existed throughout the time and has been there in a different form of Steve Rogers at that point. However, the Russos, and this was before they jumped on with coming back on for Doomsday and Secret Wars, that they have said that no, that's not what we feel at all. They have said that Steve didn't go back to the timeline. They have said that after Endgame, he is on a different timeline. He is on a different reality. So if they're gonna stick to what they said after, I can't remember when that happened, when they kind of and kind of pushed back on that, but if this is a different reality, could this be a reality where Steve Rogers didn't come back? Could that be that he comes in his reality and kind of, that Steve didn't make it through his fight with Red Skull and everything like that, and kind of takes the position at that point. I mean, that's one thing if we're going to take the Russos at face value. There's nothing that says they don't change their mind and they kind of, he is on 616, but I think that gets messy.
Yeah.
And it's always been a messy thing until they came out and said that. I can more accept that he's on a different reality because that's kind of what the Ancient One had told Bruce Banner. Like, there is no way, once you go back and you do this, that you will create other branches of timelines. It's not, the die has been cast.
Yeah. The main reason that I feel like this isn't our main Earth, this isn't Earth 616, is because of Sharon Carter. I feel like
Who? Who is that?
I feel like she would have recognized her Aunt Peggy's baby daddy had it been
she made out with him.
The same person that she made out with. That would be a little awkward. We don't kink shame, but again, this guy looks exactly like your uncle. There's something going on here.
That's not your mother, it's a man, baby.
So that's my main reasoning for thinking that this is a separate Earth, because that would make a lot of events of Civil War just very, very awkward.
And it brings into more of a understanding of like how he shows up when he does, and like I said, it just gets really interesting. And it's what we always joke around saying, all these huge events come around. Well, we're the Avengers. Steve just happened to stay in the background and kind of going against what he said, but also in the sense of like he doesn't want to ruin a timeline, so someone could say that too. But I'm with you. I don't think this is Earth 616 or Earth 1990, 90, 99, whatever we're going to call it.
No, it's definitely a branching timeline. I had a whole conversation with my girlfriend earlier about how multiversal theory, and I'm like, it's got to be the minute he went back and he decided to have a kid, it branched off something entirely different, and that's the version that we're seeing is the different branch.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take our. It's probably going to end up our only ad break for the evening before we kind of bring up a couple of points further, bring it to a close. So, as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on at the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. You don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud. So give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so with that idea that we're both kind of on the page that this is a separate reality, putting the juxtaposition of the idea that could be a Earth either where Steve Rogers passed away, because again, I don't think he's just going to walk in and see Peggy and Peggy's just going to hook up with him and be with him if she didn't have a prior relationship with a Steve Rogers,
Yeah.
So there's that. The implications, how does this set up for Doomsday and Secret Wars, as well as what does this play into Doctor Doom's issue with him? Could Steve going back and dropping up the stones and setting himself up in this reality, being happy, being with Peggy, having a child, did this lead to negatively affecting Doctor Doom's own reality in the sense of did he lead to an incursion on his world? Did it lead to something affecting his reality in a negative way? Like something there are rumors saying that it is going to be a fight. This is a fight between Steve Rogers. Movies focus very much on Steve Rogers versus Doctor Doom, Doctor Doom's Tony Stark variant.
Yeah. Well, in the past, we have seen that both Cap and those that he worked with in the beginning had ties to Howard Stark. So, what's to say that him going back to the past had a negative effect on Howard Stark and his enterprise that he was building, which caused a rift in there that could have made Howard then go into a different route, which would then pass down to Tony taking that different route as well. So that's kind of I wonder about how this affects that because we saw in Agent Carter, we saw in the first Avenger, we saw just in many different timelines of how Howard Stark was working directly with these programs. So, because of that, him going back in time, could that change the trajectory of Howard, which could then change the trajectory of where Tony went from there? And that's how he ended up in the space of Doom.
Or is Doctor Doom necessarily of is this from Steve's reality? You know, something that he did, something that a villain he faced down, and he wanted to come down. Like you said, if Steve moonlighted or didn't necessarily fully put down the shield or to give up his vigilantism, he did something to Doom, and this is Doom's revenge, which leads to the idea of our end credit scene in Fantastic Four is his interactions with Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards, being a major Omega level mutant, can have reality warping powers of the highest order. Doom is seeking him out to create a reality where he wants to rule and destroy all others.
Yeah. So there's so many different scenarios that I can think of to create this new version of Doom. I'm very excited to see the face to face between Steve Rogers and this version of Doom.
Yeah, especially as I said, like the first time they see his face, and they don't see a Doom, they see Tony, and all of them know Tony is dead. But they have also said, the Russos have also said that Tony and the snap that he did had more effects than just wiping out Thanos. You know? His snap did more to bring on this variant. And that's what, and they keep on saying, like, you know, again, that Endgame, this is a sequel to Endgame. Who I didn't realize there were strands handing out there, you know, outside of
Yeah.
what they there. And this is all sometimes what I worry too is that they're going to it is what it is, retcon some things or put some things into place that say like, oh, it was always there. It really wasn't there. You know, it just happened to be a convenient thread that you just pulled on to say, see, this one little thing, this proves it happens. I mean, we
Yeah.
in the comic book community do it all the time, but you know, so it again overall it was a a good teaser trailer. It set up the idea of confirming Chris Evans is back, confirming that Steve is not necessarily being Captain America at this point. He's a father, um, and just like Steve is going to go for anything, you guarantee you step in front of Steve's not just his wife, and I'm assuming he and Peggy are married, but you step in trying to take away his son at that point. What did Tony say in Endgame? Get everyone back. Great. I will not compromise losing what I have gained from it. He even realized as a father, as a husband, but particularly being a father, that he would not ever do anything to ever compromise what he has gained. And I think that Steve is going to now understand what that is to a very similar degree.
Yeah. as you and I both know, fatherhood changes
Yep.
you, whole different perspective, and I'd be excited to see what Steve's reasoning would be for taking back up the shield or taking back up the mantle is now that he's a father.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as he said, so we have just right before air, we were able to get access to the Thor, based on the descriptions that have been shared and been very consistent at that point. It matches up, so we'll kind of wait and see. But if it ends up being the right one, set your expectations not high. This if that ends up being one, it is not going to be as kind of. I mean, this was big, but this doesn't raise the same level. I think we're all now waiting on the Doctor Doom trailer because this will be our first look at Robert Downey Jr. as this Tony Stark Doctor Doom variant, and I think that's the one I am most excited for, besides the proper Doomsday trailer. So
Yeah, agreed.
so yeah, so that is our kind of breakdown at that point. So as I said, that's going to be kind of our main part of our show. Don't worry, we will do a post credits as always, but we will take a break at least for right now until 2026 with listener questions, comic book club, and Factor Fictions. At this point, like I said, David and I are going to take the next 2 weeks off, even if we do get a hold of the Doctor Doom one. Just say we get it a hold next week. David and I are going to take a break. David and I need not from each other. We love each other, but we do this as much in the holidays for us are very important, and doing that at that point. But rest assured, if we feel something that really it's got to really rise our attention, the next episode we come back, we will break down everything at that point, and we'll be very excited too because again, the Thor and possibly Doctor Doom, maybe in Avengers Doomsday. I don't know. Will Disney come to their senses and just start putting this stuff out and try to combat the leakers? But I'll give them this. They didn't blink. I thought they would. I really did. I thought with the amount of leaks and everything that came out with this one alone, I thought they were going to blink, but they're not blinking. So more power to them.
Yeah, they're definitely standing their ground on this one. So
Yep.
they've made a decision and they are all in on it.
Yep. So, but yeah, so like we said, we will be off for the next 2 weeks. Nothing in the feeds for that. We're gonna kind of go dark with that at that point. But first Thursday in January, we will do our trailer breakdowns with this. It's gonna be a chunky episode, if any new, because Hollywood's also gonna go dark in the next for the next 2 weeks as well. Um, so we'll also have Mr. Snell back on for the 2026 predictions. We'll see. As I say, we will revisit our 2025 and see who was correct and who got wrecked with their predictions. So it's always a fun time with that show. So, David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the GeekVerse Network as part of The Gimmick. That is our wrestling show where we cover things across all platforms of wrestling. I co host that with Mr. Travis Snell and Mr. S Bug. So if you're into wrestling, come give us a visit over there at The Gimmick.
Yes, yes, yes. I enjoyed your breakdown of Saturday night at that point with Mr. Mr. Cena's last match. I'll have to share with you offline my take on that. But yeah, so you can also, as I said, you can check me out as always every month on the Brave and the Boys YouTube channel for our pre-order show, looking at the final order cutoffs of the newly released pre-orders every month on that channel. Check it out, and you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can check out Marvel Alliance on Twitter at Marvel A Podcast. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback. Give us again, we're putting it out there right now. We've already broken down this. We have seen the Thor one. If you want to talk to us about that, fine. We are glad to have it, and love to hear that and hear your thoughts about that. Continue to rate, review the Marvel Alliance solo feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Greatly appreciate it. And as we close out 2025 at this point, David and I definitely want to thank each and every one of you listeners, your viewers. Thank you for being a loyal listener, loyal viewer of Marvel Alliance. We cannot do this without you. It is a great pleasure to do this week in, week out. We hope you've enjoyed our breakdowns this year. 2026, we've got some bangers coming up at this point. It's going to be a heck of a year with Daredevil Born Again season 2. We've got as we said, Avengers Doomsday. We've got Spider-Man Brand New Day. We've got some great content here. I know we're going to start the year with Wonder Man. That's going to be an interesting one to start off the year at the end of January. But we will be here for all of it. For those of you that celebrate the upcoming holidays, we wish you a very merry holiday, very happy holiday. Stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, our final post credits discussion for 2025. What do you have for us, my friend?
All right, fun one. What movie or project originally slated for 2025? This can include anything that has been pushed back, canceled, or just fell off the face of the earth. Were you most excited about that you didn't get to see?
Wonder Man, no. No. I mean, looking back at what we did in the previous episode of kind of looking at our own rankings of where this kind of stuff is. I mean, the easy answer is Daredevil Born Again. I mean, that's the easy answer at that point. But I would say, and I kind of hinted towards, and I kind of said it in that episode too, that I was quite excited, surprisingly excited about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man because it was a new Spider-Man animated show. Um, it ended up kind of really surprising me better than I thought it was going to be, and it became it wasn't just a sweet version of just Spider-Man. It actually dealt with some hard-hitting stuff and didn't pull some punches with it. And I like the creativity they did with it. So yeah, Born Again is the low-hanging fruit, but I'd say your friendly new, but Spider-Man for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Out of what got released, I would say Daredevil was my most anticipated. Out of what never saw the light of day, I'm not gonna lie. I understand the reasons, and I 1,000% back the reasons. But I am so sad that we are not going to be able to see what could have been with the King Dynasty.
Fair. I mean, I moved on from it, so I didn't even enter my thought process. But yes, you did say never see the light of day. Yep, Kang Dynasty. Um, because I adore that story in the comics. I mean, if you want to see where the Avengers get completely wrecked more than Thanos could ever do, read the Kang Dynasty by Kurt Busiek and George Perez because that is one of the best Avenger stories of all time.
Yeah. So
Um, yeah, go ahead.
that is one that I every reason that they had for canceling that, they check all the boxes. I have no problems with them saying, you know what, we're not going forward. But the storyline itself, just King building his empire across time, the large conflicts that was happening, that just I was so looking forward to seeing that. But then yeah, we had to make a plot shift, so
Yeah, choices were made. Now, I would say out of the three movies that came out, I think Thunderbolts was, when it came down to it, out of the three, Thunderbolts was the one that I was excited for because I liked a lot of the characters and where they set that up, and it met my expectations, and it was a true story that I wanted, that met my expectations, and then some. A very personal story at that rate. So that if I had to pick a movie, it would be that.
yeah, I literally had the conversation earlier. We are talking about that movie, and they were saying that they were surprised when listening to the last episode that that would have been my pick out of my favorite of the movies. And I told them, given anything that I've dealt with mental health wise, anything my family's dealt with mental health wise, I go that the fact that it hit those beats, the fact that it touched on that in such a significant manner, and the way that it dealt with that, I go, to me, that made it more important than any of the other movies released.
Yeah. So, but all right. Well, we will see you all in 2026. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this. And again, we will see you then. We got a great year ahead of us. Stay safe out there and enjoy that break for all you that celebrate. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye bye.
See ya.